My name's Grant Carter. I am Drew's older brother, if you don't know me. Before I get to my brother, let me first say, Lindsay, you look absolutely gorgeous tonight. And it is, that's nice. It's truly an honor to welcome you to our family. And I'm sure, as you're aware, our family's been rooting for you and Drew for a decade now. And I did want to say one thing about your relationship with my brother that kind of breaks away from this theme of predetermination and inevitability. Nothing in life is predetermined, certainly not long-lasting relationships. And while the fact that you and Drew are sitting here may, for some people, feel like predetermined destiny, and I don't blame them, I see your relationship with my brother a little differently. I think it's daring to take the roundabout path that you guys took, to see the predetermined trail and have the courage to walk in a different direction. As author Wally Lamb once said, the seeker embarks on a journey to find out what they want and discovers along the way what they really need. So I'm proud of you both for having the courage to embark on this journey, and I'm beyond blessed to have you both found what you both needed. So Lindsay, my sister, thank you for giving my brother the support you do and the lifetime of love that he needs. We love you. All right. On to the roast. All right. Now, to be totally honest, I figured I would have missed out on this whole best man thing sometime around the age when Drew was 6. Back then, my buddy and I, who were 11, would play 2-on-1 tackle football with my brother in the side yard of our house. And it also had a slight hill, so we made my brother run uphill just to give us a little bit more momentum to drive our shoulders into his tiny sternum. Or I could have lost it with the invention of the sock'em boppers, which, if you don't know, is basically a beach ball that you affix to your wrist to use as a boxing glove. And let's just say the air doesn't hold very well in a sock'em bopper, and it's mostly fists connecting with your face with a little bit of cushion there. Or it could have been the time in 6th grade when I went through that whole WWF phase, and I'm sure Drew took the brunt end of that as well. And the physical pain was only matched by the mental warfare that was thrust upon a younger brother. So yeah, I'd say my road to best man was a little rocky at best. However, with all of the one-sided physical tests that have occurred, there were so many fun and enjoyable times. My brother and I would spend hours in the basement playing basketball, baseball, ping pong, and Power Rangers with my sister. We had one window down there. We only broke it once, miraculously, although there were an estimated 70 ceiling tiles, and they were all gone by the time we moved. As we grew older, the 5-year age difference did have its effect. I'd say I hung out more with my friends, Drew with his, but we had memories that will last a lifetime. We would spend hours playing pool up north in the Boundary Waters. We'd go fishing every year with my dad and my sister. We would spend days on the lake fishing, having a good time, and of course, the one time we stared death in the face when we climbed, ducked, and pushed our way out of the North Woods of Minnesota after my dad told us he thought he knew a shortcut back to where our boat was docked. We did share, I think, the last sun-kissed. We figured that was our last drink, and then it was over. But I will also never forget how my brother was there for all my basketball games, baseball games, tennis matches, and I loved competing and playing sports for my brother, and I loved watching my brother compete and play sports as well. Sports has been a theme in our lives, I would say. The Bulls, Bears, Blackhawks, Cubs, huge Chicago fans. I've seen 2 walk-offs in Wrigley Field in my entire life. Both were with my brother. I've been to 1 NFL playoff game at Soldier Field with my brother. In 2010, my brother somehow afforded tickets to the Western Conference Finals, where we watched the Blackhawks beat the Sharks in overtime. And of course, I would be remiss to not mention the Cubs winning the World Series in 2016, where my brother was the one that met me at the Wrigleyville bar at 7 a.m., where we stayed the 7 hours to wait for the first pitch, then lived through each and every excruciating up and down of the entire 10-inning Game 7, and then, of course, celebrating the World Series with my brother. That was as close to a perfect life moment I think you can have. I'm sure from now on he'll say this was the best day of his life. But come on. The old adage that your parents say is, and it's usually after you give your younger brother another black eye, that one day your little brother will be your best friend. And I can tell you right now that is totally true. I probably text with my brother and talk with my brother more than anyone else. Sports, life advice, catching up on our lives. And although our life paths have put us in different parts of the country, my relationship with my brother has never changed and will never change. So Drew, I'm blessed. Thank you for that. Now, we're getting there. Now, while I did attend Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals in 2010, he did pay for someone else to go to the Stanley Cup Final with him that year. Fortunately, he married that person, so I don't need to hold that grudge against him for the rest of his life. But I will say what has been great for me and my family, besides the joy that he has brought to our lives and to Lindsay's, is to see the joy he brings to his friends' lives. I can guarantee you that any one of his friends here tonight would tell you how loyal Drew is, how he is open to provide help in any situation, how he's a great unifier, always avoiding unnecessary confrontation, and having the ability to relate with anybody. That's probably why he had the biggest bachelor party I think I've ever seen. And the fact that so many guys attended is just another indicator of the kind of guy that Drew is. While some could not make it for real world reasons, all of them did lament the fact and how sad they were that they couldn't be there. And each and every person that I talked to that was there told me the same thing, that every one of them knew that you would do the same for them and they wouldn't miss it for anything. That's the kind of friends, those kind of friends are not easy to find, and the fact that my brother has made that impact on so many people is incredible. That fact is further driven home by my brother's friend, and I want to say friend, Ben. Ben, along with my brother, left their accomplished meteorology and sports anchor jobs, and certainly in my brother's case, a career that he had dreamed of doing and accomplished in a way that I think only Drew can, with what seemed like an air of simplicity and an unmatched drive to succeed. Well, they left those jobs to start their own business, and that takes a lot of guts from both my brother and from Ben and their wives. And for Ben to have the confidence in Drew and vice versa, again, tells you the kind of man Drew is. You know, my family and I like to joke about this thing called Drew World. This is a world where my brother lives, where things are easy, good fortune is plentiful, and cares are cast aside as the life that comes at you provides all you ever want. Well, it is fun to joke about that. You have to understand that someone doesn't simply have a life like that without working for it. And if Drew World, you have the ability to accomplish one dream, the courage to chase another, along with a loyal group of friends and a wonderful life partner, well then I think we could all be asking ourselves, how do we find our way to Drew World? Now I've been married 7 years to my wonderful wife Annie, so I will leave you both with one piece of brotherly advice on marriage as we raise our glasses to toast. You got it. Marriage is not a competition, though both parties seem to always know the score. Marriage is fleeting moments of major accomplishments that are overwhelmed by the little things that make everything all worth it. May you always trust your friends, rely on your family, lean on your faith, and most importantly, remind each other that you're always in this journey together, because marriage is not pretty, but it sure is beautiful. To Lindsay and Drew. Now, I'm sorry, it's not over. There is one more thing. And as the older brother, I have to do this. When my brother gave his best man speech to me, he inducted my wife Annie and I into the Couples Hall of Fame. So as you know, we enjoy sports analogies, and I have to say, I think that analogy was a little off. You're not in the Hall of Fame when you get married. I'm sure that comes later. I see this more as the big contract that you have just signed. You guys might have got drafted and didn't get drafted by your home team and got sent east and got sent south. Played around for a little bit, got traded a couple times, but now you're back. Now you're back. You're back with the hometown team. And I don't think you can properly get signed a new big contract without first getting presented with your home team jerseys. So if you'll please hold these up while we take the photo up.
Oh my gosh.
That one's yours. And by the way, I didn't know Wendell Carter was going to get drafted by the Bulls. This was pretty good. There you guys are. To Drew and Lindsay.